It is the Blitz here on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. He is Joe Reinagel. I'm Jason Minix. Let's talk with a legend, Nancy Lieberman, Basketball Hall of Famer, joining us now on the Buyers Barricades guest line. Lots going on to talk with you, Nancy Lieberman, including the Big Three that's coming to San Antonio in August. How's your Thursday?
It is beautiful and blessed. Thank you guys for having me on. My whole family's down there, lives in San Antonio.
Oh, yeah, really?
I love it there. It's what a place and amazing people.
It is a great place. You are absolutely right about that. And we look forward to seeing you in August. Are you coming to San Antonio?
I'm coming to San Antonio with Team Power, and we're really excited. I think this is our second time down in San Antonio, and you mentioned we play at Frost Bank on Sunday, August 4th. The Big Three is electric. The fans are out of control. They just love it because this league is different. It's fast-paced. It's physical. There's innovative rules. I got to tell people it's not Grandpa's old timers day at Yankee Stadium. these guys can flat out go get you, and they're still, they're between 23 years old and 40 years old. Look, I played in the W at 40 and 50. So these guys are unbelievable how they can play, and they're legendary.
Absolutely. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And maybe, I mean, we were talking with Ice Cube earlier, maybe there's a Caitlin Clark on the floor as well if the deal is able to get worked out with her and the Big Three League while she's also playing in the WNBA. And I think about all the barriers you broke, Nancy, and then here in San Antonio, what Becky Hammon was able to do and what she's doing now in the WNBA. You guys kind of paved that path. What do you think Caitlin Clark will be able to do now?
I think Caitlin Clark will be able to do anything she wants to do. Everything is possible. When I didn't have a league for 17 years in my prime, from 22 to 39, I had to play against men. I played for Pat Riley and the Lakers in their summer league. In 86, 87, I played 2 years in the USBL, which is equivalent to the G League. I played for the Utah Jazz and the great Frank Layton. I know what it's like to have a 290-pound guy set a screen on me, or me try to pick up charge on Karl Malone. Health-wise, it's not the way to go, but it's. I had no choice. And so when I look at the things that Caitlin has done, we have the 3-point line, but we also have the 4-point line. But the deal is amazing. I mean, nobody is saying, I love the WNBA. I'm family. But $5 million guaranteed to play 8 games and once a week. And if there's a conflict, they will send a private jet to send her home. Why would you have to at least acknowledge the offer? And it's not just a $5 million deal. Now I'm just talking strictly, dollars and cents here. The merchandising, she could make $10 million, and they want to give her 33% ownership of the team, which could be worth another $5 million. Now you're looking at $15 million for 8 games, and you can play. The WNBA has 40 games. We want her to play in the WNBA. I think there's one game that has a conflict, and everybody's like, oh my God, you can't do 2 leagues. Tell that to Bo Jackson, who in 1987 played for the Raiders and then played for the Royals of baseball, and he made the All-Pro team and the All-Star team in both. Tell that to my forever brother, Deion Sanders, who in 92 played for the Atlanta Falcons and played for the Royals. The only person to return a kick in the football game at noon, and then fly to the World Series and get a couple hits in that game. So I'm not saying, sometimes when you do things that are epic, outside the box, you separate yourself from everybody else. It's historic. It's Billie Jean King saying, yes, I will play against Bobby Riggs.
Well, Nancy, don't you think that the WNBA would encourage her to play in the Big Three? I mean, with the eyes that were on the college basketball tournament, the women's college basketball tournament, and the eyes that are going to be on the WNBA, and the Indiana team that she's most likely going to. Don't you think they would encourage her to get that exposure with the Big Three league?
I would hope so. You know, Ice Cube is just an incredible human being. He's not trying to antagonize anybody. Sometimes in life, in business, go ask Warren Buffett, go ask Elon Musk. You need to have competition in the workplace, because by offering her $55 million, now the W, whether they were ready or not, has to lift their level of play financially for all the women in the WNBA. Competition is healthy to be better. And you guys, better than anybody, what do you have, 5 championships down there?
Yes.
And you have the greatest coach in the history of the game. You have a generational player in Victor. And then you have Becky Hammond. And once again, I'm sure people were like bending their heads sideways when Pop, signed her to be an assistant coach, because he was not afraid. There's nothing to be afraid of here. What I'm afraid of? I'm afraid because I sat with Becky on the flight to Cleveland. She kept eating my peanuts. Okay, I wasn't really down with that. I'm bigger than her, and I'm from New York. She's, from the Dakotas. That's concerning. But look what she's done. I'm a little bit of a smart aleck.
Yeah.
But look what she's done in the W. In life, you can't be afraid of anything, and opportunities come all the time. And if this is something on the good, it's not a bad thing. She can play. I'm telling you, I did it. I'm the only other person who can tell you what it's like to actually play, 30, 40, 50 games in a men's league. I wish I had the W. And if I had the W and then I was offered to play in a league like this on this level, I would say, yes, I would love to do it.
The
We
legend.
outrate the W, NASCAR, tennis, MLS, and NBA Summer League on CBS. We get 14, 15,000 people a game. This could only be spectacular for her and separate her even more for what she's done to change the future for women in sports, not basketball, women in sports. If she plays in the W, it's groundbreaking. If she plays in the Big Three and the W, it's earth shattering.
Absolutely. And Nancy, let me ask you, as we visit with the legend Nancy Lieberman here on the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, think about the experience you talked about in your early days when you played against men, and you look at the way today's NBA is played, where it's not near as physical as it was when you were going against men, and you say, could Caitlin Clark actually play in the NBA? Could you see her becoming the first female to play in the National Basketball Association?
If a team wanted, and I think I read the other day where Portland would be, considering drafting her. You know what makes her so special? Because everybody talks about the fact that she can, shoot from the logo and do all that. I guarantee you, she can pass as good as any guy in the NBA. Her pinpoint passing is what separates her. Again, this is me, but that's why I was able to play against men, because I could pass the ball like Magic or Isaiah or any of those great players. You don't have to be 6'7" and 250 pounds to be able to drop dimes. And then your teammates appreciate you, and they do the little things like staying a little longer on the screen to get you open. We could create opportunities for her now that there's no weak side defense. I mean, I wouldn't give my plays away, but we could design plays for her that if you try to trap her, muscle her, go ahead, and we'll just keep getting layups.
I think it's fantastic, and I hope it works out. And I think with Ice Cube, he's going to make it happen. I just love the success that the Big Three has had. I've got to ask you, though, Nancy, because, obviously admired you and your entire career and everything you've done. What was it when you were a little girl in New York or grow up? Why basketball? How did that happen?
It was different for me. You see me signed up today. I was a poor kid from New York with no food, no heat, no electricity, no father, one grandparent away from food stamps. I was so broken, but I hid behind being a football, baseball, and then ultimately basketball player. But I mean, I felt so bad about myself because I had nothing. And sports made me feel good. Like when we'd be at the park or even Rucker Park at 12 years old, and the kids would say, "Hey, we got the girl." It was almost like saying you love me and you believe in me. And I needed that at that time in my life. I'm, I was raised by the Black community at Rucker up in Harlem. I was so protected because they realized that this little red-headed little girl from Queens wasn't afraid, and it was instant respect. And then later on in life, when my hero Muhammad Ali, by the grace of God, became my friend and wouldn't let me go until the day he died, and he said, Nancy, you have to respect everybody, but you have to fear nobody. There's two people in the world. There's givers and there's takers. He knew I was going to go to the NBA before I knew I was going to the NBA. He even came to the first game and sat in the suite behind the bench. So sports changed my life. How would I even be talking to you on the phone about, Muhammad Ali and me sitting there in his house in Phoenix and holding his hand and wiping his face and feeding him at the end? It's a story that you can't make up. Or Kobe protecting me and just encouraging me and wanting to know why I would play at 50. Why would you do this? And I felt like I was in a think tank with him in 2008. He just won the MVP. He just won the championship. And you're asking a 50-year-old white woman how I felt, how I trained, what hurt. Were you scared? Were you nervous? And I said, no, I respected everybody, but I feared nobody. And that's how I've lived my life. And today I stand before you humble in saying I'm so grateful for everything that's happened in my life. I have the most extraordinary son and family. I got to coach in the college all-star game at the Final Four with Cheryl Miller against each other on Saturday. My assistant coach is my son, TJ.
Awesome.
And
Nice.
on the winning play, I'm a mom now, okay? I'm in the huddle drawing up the last possession for us, and I stopped, and I looked at my son, who plays. He plays in Europe. He plays for me. He played at Richmond. He plays in the Big Three. I said, TJ, draw the winning play up. And he looks at, Aisha Fair from Syracuse, and he goes, okay, I'm drawing this play up for you to win the game for us. And they execute. Pop would have been so proud of TJ. And we won the game. And I mean, that's an incredible moment. It's like how Pop loves Timmy or Tony or, Manu. It's something really special that this game has given us. Like, I don't take working for Ice Cube lightly. This man is faithful. He's a great husband. He's a great father. He's an incredible, iconic human being that cares. And I am going to tell you a little secret. You can ask him when you see him. Ask him about Larry.
Larry.
He has a rescue. Yeah, he has a rescue tortoise.
Tortoise.
And I said, wait a minute. I'm like, sir, you're NWA and you have a rescue tortoise that has a white man's name, Larry?
Larry.
No. And every time I talk to him, he called me yesterday. I talked to him. I go, hey, how's Miss Kim? How are the kids? How's O'Shea? How's Larry? He laughs at me every time.
I can imagine.
Can I get a picture with Larry when I come to the house? And he just says, NL. Okay. Yeah. I mean, he loves me, NL. He's the best. He cares so much about the game. He loves the San Antonio Spurs. He just loves this game with all his heart and soul. He doesn't want anything. He just wants to make it better, and he's doing it. Look, he hired me. He made me the highest paid coach. I earn exactly what Dr. J, George Gervin, a guy that you guys know well, my Hall of Fame class, by the way, in '96, Drexler, Michael Cooper, Gary Payton, Rick Barry, he made me the highest paid coach. I didn't even have to negotiate it. This is who he is.
It's awesome. And again, and you're awesome. Listening to you, I could tell why you're such a great coach and motivator. I'm curious, how many conversations have you had with Caitlin Clark, and what have those been like?
That's a great question. First of all, Caitlin and I have known each other since her freshman year when Coach Bluter asked if I would Zoom, it was COVID, with the team before each season, and I did. So we got to know each other through Zooming. And then the last time she won my award, not this year, last year, I said to her, Caitlin, I don't know when, I don't know how, I don't know where, but when we meet, it's going to be powerful. So they're playing in Dallas last year. And, they beat South Carolina to go to the title game. And I'm sitting at the last seat of the courtside. She is coming after her interviews on ESPN towards the locker room. I kid you not. We look at each other. We hug like we were lost hostages. Okay. She wouldn't let go of me. I wouldn't let go of her. And she grabs my hand. I go, where are we going? And she says, we're going to the locker room. I said, I don't have credentials. She goes, I'm your credential. I'm like, okay, good to know. And I go in the locker room. Lisa Bluter looks at me. She goes, you're coming in. We talk to the team. And they invited me in. They didn't have to invite me in. And I was so, it was such a blessing. And it just fortified our relationship. So I promised her, and I'm going to tell you this, Kobe and I'm going to put a period on Caitlin. Kobe and I have been talking for 3-4 years about me coming to LA to coach Gigi's team. And yes, we're going to do it. And then life happens and people were running around and we never got to it. 2 nights before he died, he and I were texting and we're like, okay, let's do this. Okay. I have an hour's worth of texting still on the 24th with Cobes. The next night I'm doing an appearance somewhere in California and he calls me in the middle of the night, like 12 o'clock. He goes, okay, let's lock this thing up. You'll come Wednesday, blah, blah, blah. You'll Uber to the house. We'll grab some food. We'll go to the Mamba Academy. We'll get on the helicopter. You got as long as you want. Sunday, we lost him. I never got to do what I promised I would do for him. It changed my life. When Caitlin asked me to come see her play in Iowa, and I kept saying, yeah. And then here goes life again. And I stopped and I went, Caitlin, I'm coming Monday. I can't come Saturday because I do the TV for the Thunder. And we had the Bucks on Sunday. And if I didn't make it, I can't be sitting in Iowa and miss the game. I mean, I can't do that. So I came Monday. I saw her. We spent time. We've been texting, talking, all these, all throughout the season. I go in the locker room after the game and she goes, here's my jersey. And she autographs. And I'm thinking, she probably doesn't know. She just gave me the last jersey she's ever played in.
Wow.
While, at Carver Hawkeye Arena. And so I'm like overwhelmed that she would give me this jersey and the respect that we have. Like she calls me her goat and I'm like, stop calling me a farm animal. Okay. I'm not a farm animal. And she's just like, so again, I'm deflecting and I'm like, no, you're the goat. You're going to have to accept it. I had my time. People have been great to me. This is your time. And I'm just here to support you. So I feel so good about it. So I didn't want people to think when that press release came out and it broke about the offer on Wednesday, I was with her Monday and I don't want anybody to think I was on a recruiting trip. I was out there for Caitlin Clark and I didn't know that was going to hit the media. So I made sure I texted her and I'm like, I know you believe me, but I did not know. I knew that they wanted you and I knew that they were going to offer or they were talking about a number, but I had no clue. I'm on the basketball side. I have nothing to do with the business. And she said, you don't even have to say anything. I know it. I said, but congratulations. That's dope that they would offer you that. And, I try to stay out of it as best I can. Of course, everybody's asking me and she's got a great family, her dad, her mom and everybody. She's got great agents. They're going to figure it out. It's, the world's about duality, up, down, left, right. 2 things are going to happen. She's either going to say, I want to do this, or I can't do it. I don't want to do it. And either way, it's okay because it's made the NBA and the W better.
Well, Nancy, I could
Better,
listen to you all
because
day. You gave me chills talking about Kobe Bryant. A lot of great memories with Kobe, and I'm sincerely sitting here and you get chills just with that story. Great story.
I miss him.
Yeah.
I miss him. I really do. My son thought I died on the helicopter
Ooh.
because he had just landed in Italy. He plays in Israel. They just landed, and he texted me, and it was like he called me, and he's like, "Mom, mother," and I'm like, "What's wrong?" You can hear in your kid's voice. It's Sunday morning, and I'm getting ready to speak at an event, and he goes, "Mom, you don't know." I go, "TJ, know what?" He goes, "Kobe Bryant died." I go, "No, he didn't. He called me last night after midnight because I told TJ Friday Kobe and I were talking, and I was going to go coach Gigi's team. I never had a chance to talk to him after that. And he goes, "Mom, I thought you were on the helicopter. I thought you died."
Wow.
That's
Does that not like hit your heart?
yes, yes, it does.
Chills.
Wow.
Chills.
Yeah. So I miss him, like everybody else.
Yep.
Absolutely. The great Nancy Lieberman, Hall of Famer here on the Blitz. Nancy, we're up against the time. Well, we could go on for another hour. I mean, I'd love to get your thoughts on Wemby and what the Spurs are doing and Becky, but we'll have to do that another time. But I know you're coming to San Antonio Sunday, August 4th with the Big Three playing at the Frost Bank Center. Tickets are available now at thebig3.com and at, where you get all your tickets. Nancy Lieberman, this has been a true honor. Appreciate you taking the time to visit with us this afternoon.
Well, thank you for having me, and go Spurs. I just love the culture there.
Appreciate it. The great Nancy Lieberman here on the Buyers Barricades guest line, where they provide traffic control, rental, and sales for San Antonio and beyond, online at buyersbarricades.com.